Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Showtimes. Or at least that's what I'm continuing to call this.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. It's been a eventful few minutes for a lot of us.
Yeah, we're in the I think this is the first thing. Is this the first thing you've shot since the whole pandemic?
It's the first time we felt comfortable being in a similar room because we both interact with a lot of people. And as such, we felt that enough time has gone by. We isolate ourselves enough. We take enough precautions. And above all, Discord just kind of doesn't work so good for our end. So we're braving virus for you, internet. No, that's the joke. We actually felt we hadn't been in contact with anybody for long enough, and so we're like, you know what? I think this is okay. So
yeah,
we are being safe about this. But one thing that was not safe was Disney's Artemis Fowl movie.
Okay, so I just want to disclaimer right now. I've never read the books.
That is perfectly fine.
I knew this was gonna be a mess going into it. Number one, because this thing was in production hell forever.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so a little bit of backstory before this, so we catch everybody up to speed. First of all, we don't know how long this is gonna go, so buckle in for maybe a long rant, mostly on my end. So Artemis Fowl was being eyed for production for quite a while, mostly after the success of Harry Potter and a bunch of other children's medium level success of children's books like it. Percy Jackson series got done really, really dirty, turned a decent enough profit to make 2 movies out of it.
See, but a lot of I think the hesitation started coming when movies like Aragon and
yes. It's funny you mention Aragon because I kind of feel a similar kinship to them now.
Aragon was done very poorly, and I like that.
So was the
book
Percy
series.
Jackson series.
Well, so I think this movie is going to suffer from the same problem the Percy Jackson series is going to suffer from. But there's also Aragon's the number one I can think of, but then there was stuff like I Am Number 4, which Michael Bay shit all over.
Yeah, no, a lot of people poo-pooed on that one, and for good reason. That's not a very good movie. But for right now,
love the book series though.
For right now, go ahead and sit back, relax, because we're going in to Artemis Fowl.
Yeah,
I fucking hate this movie.
This thing was in production hell. The rights from this had bounced back and forth between 3 different companies. I looked it up. Even Miramax had the rights for it for
and
a
that
while.
was it's interesting you mentioned Miramax because they are a subsidiary of Disney.
Yeah.
And I would have been more interested in seeing that happen because the book gets kind of graphic in some places and it's really the better for it. And not because it goes graphic, but because it has more adult themes to it that it allows kids to question and be like, ooh, that was dark. For the most part, it is a standard kids book, but it does not hold the kid's hand while they're reading it.
Yeah.
There's very much a lot of blankness to Artemis Fowl that children can insert themselves into, but at the same time, he is his own character enough to where you can see him evolve and grow as a person throughout the series, and by proxy, the audience can see themselves evolve and mature.
So I think, though, with the Artemis Fowl series, I read a little bit about it. He doesn't actually, book-wise, they don't acknowledge him aging that much.
No, but that's okay, because you don't really need to.
So, but
the passage of time happens.
If they make another one of these movies, that's where I'm saying the Percy Jackson problem is going to come in, because, Percy Jackson, he barely aged in the books, and by the time the second movie came out, you could tell Logan Lerman and half that cast was in their fucking late 20s.
Yeah.
They definitely suffered these don't look like teenagers anymore problem.
Yeah.
That seems to be Disney's biggest issue is they try to target books and stuff like that where the characters don't necessarily age. So you either have to pump out movies really fast, which in a world like today, you're not with so many movies that were set up for so many flopping. Like they definitely need to test the waters first before they start rushing production on other movies, or you could have a whole fucking Divergent problem where like the first two do pretty good, and like the first one was good, the second one was meh, but still got enough money to make the third one. The third one bombed so goddamn bad that the third one was supposed to be the final anyway, but they decided to do a Hunger Games thing and split it into two.
I remember
this,
and
only half of it ever got finished.
Yeah, they never released the other half of that movie
because they were going to move it to television, and Shailene Woodley was like, I didn't sign up for a TV deal. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't breaking my contract. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
So that happened there.
Okay. So, Jared just saw my litany of notes here.
I don't know enough about this series.
Okay. So let's
be angry with it.
Let's go ahead and talk about the book series a little bit, because I enjoyed reading the series when I was younger. Like, it wasn't the most advanced. It had some narrative issues to it, but there was a lot that I appreciated for it. To give a little backstory, when I was in my early late teens, my mom worked early morning, or my dad worked early mornings. My mom worked late nights, so both were just not really there, and it was just me and my brothers. And one of the key features growing up is we would read stories at bedtime. And usually we'd go through a couple of chapters of a book. And one series that we all really found we liked was the Artemis Fowl series. And this movie is not Artemis Fowl. It's generic shit movie with Artemis Fowl name tacked on. Okay. So
knowing like anything about Artemis Fowl, I did not think this was a great movie. I had heard Artemis Fowl was like a great adventure book, and I'm staring at like an hour and a half of a kid in a mansion just being a smartass.
Okay, yes. That is part of the issue. You can go ahead and sit back too in your chair, since you don't have to lean forward to keep your chair on balance. So you can relax a little bit. How's that feel?
It feels nice.
Yeah, Jared's got the big chair this time.
I will say, out of everything in this movie, the most enjoyable thing was Josh Gad.
Josh Gad, you mean? You might want to here, bring your mic a little closer.
Sorry. Yeah, the most enjoyable thing was Josh Gad.
There we go. Okay, now we've got our sound balance. Sorry, it's been a while. We're relearning how to talk to ourselves on the internet.
Yeah.
That's my first note, actually, is Josh Gad impersonating Christopher Lambert's Raiden for voice narration for this movie. And I hate it. I hate it. Okay, so this movie takes almost half its runtime to get to the first part of the book, which there's a whole lot of things in the book that aren't in this that make it a billion times more interesting. Okay. Let's start off. First of all, his mom's not dead.
Okay.
His mom's not dead. Thanks, Disney. Don't know why we have to fucking kill off the mom.
Wow.
Yeah, his mom's not dead. His dad is somewhere. His ship had crashed, or something had happened to it, and he had dropped off this planet. That happened roughly when he was 10.
Oh, shit. So he had lived like 2-3 years.
He had been around. He was alive for 2 years past this, and he had devoted almost his entire family's wealth towards trying to find him. His mom
That's so much of a better story than
it is, isn't it?
Damn.
So let me get this first part out, and then we'll compare and contrast with the movie. Mom's not dead. Dad is missing. Artemis Fowl is a person young enough to believe in magic, yet old enough to understand the complexities of the world because of what has happened to him. His mother has entered a delusional state, either through stress or just the loss of her husband impacting her and how that's going to impact them as a family. And so she is there, but she's not. And part of the reason Artemis is doing this is to help his mother.
So is he a delusional asshole little shit in the books?
No, with some exceptions. He is an asshole.
Okay.
Like, straight up, Artemis Fowl is not a good person in the first book.
Okay.
in this, he starts out by going to, I want to say he goes to Thailand. It might be a slum in China. I forget. It's been a while. But he finds a fairy who works as a fortune teller.
Okay.
And uses what little magic she has on the streets in exchange for hooch. And he promises her, is like, hey, he leans into her and starts speaking in the tongue Gnomish, which is the language of the people.
Yeah.
As they're called. And says, hey, I know you're not really human. I can fix you. All you have to do is give me your book. And what that is a small little book. And it's called the Book of the People. It is written entirely in Gnomish. And is written in a cipher. They say this in the movie, and I was actually kind of like, okay, sure, I get that. You didn't bother to actually go through one of the more interesting parts of this. He barters the book for an exchange of helping her become not riddled with alcoholism and just wrecking the magical body. So that's how he gets he understands the cipher for translating the Book of the People.
Oh, shit. That's so much more interesting.
It is. Want to know something else?
What?
He deliberately waits for Holly Short to recharge her magic. Okay, so Holly Short is the first female officer of the LEP Recon, Lower Elements Police Recon. Yeah, ha ha ha. It wasn't that super funny the first time I heard it, but I was like, all right, whatever. It's fine joke.
Yeah.
Fun fact, they all actually dress like SWAT. Their outfits aren't bright fucking green.
So they undermine it by having that one character be female instead of male, correct?
Yes. Julius Root in this is played by Judi Dench, which I was like, yeah, all right, Judi Dench can play whatever the fuck she wants. She's earned that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is one of the big points of the book is Root is a big proponent for Holly Short and is like, look, this is the stupidest rule we've ever come up with. Of course women can do this. You're the first female officer. All eyes are on you. You have got to be better than everything. And that point is completely brushed aside.
Yeah, that I think I had read that's why a lot of fans were mad.
There's that. Holly's father is never mentioned in the books. So this thing with her dad is made up wholesale for the movie. No idea what that's about.
Okay.
There had never been any contact between humans and the Fowls. Like, this is the first time. Artemis and Butler lay in wait at that tree for like 3 days for somebody to come and perform the ritual to restore their magic. The scene with the troll happens mostly in the same way, except fairies have this really cool ability with their suits where they can turn them invisible, and it acts like a thermoptic camouflage.
So like Predator style?
Okay. Or the Grey Fox Ninja. You pick your sci-fi.
Okay.
But they're able to do that, and that's how they are able to stealthily move into areas. And they are able to use magic like the mesmer and the hypnotic voice and all that.
See, if you told me all this, you would have already sold me on a movie pitch.
Yeah, you should read the books. They're not bad. They're definitely geared towards a younger audience, but they've got some good stuff to them.
I'm having like fantastic I Am Number 4 flashbacks. Like I was so stoked for that movie because I love the book series.
It's pretty darn good.
Michael Bay shit all over my
yes.
So Disney shit on your childhood.
Disney, well, not exactly my childhood. My brothers are going to hate this movie. Like if they ever see it,
I was about to say, has Ethan seen this? I know.
No, he has not, and he would absolutely hate it. That was the big one. Ethan, my youngest brother, Ethan, really gravitated towards this.
This is like his profile picture on Facebook.
Yes, he is a huge fan of the Artemis Fowl series. He actually, there's a line of Gnomish text at the bottom of every book, and he actually went through and translated all of it. Like, it's a simple Caesar cipher, but still, it's the book series that got him into doing cryptograph stuff, which he absolutely loves that shit. So anyway,
my brother's a really good D&D player.
He is. But getting back to the book, the troll scene happens pretty much the way it says. It's a little more action packed because the fairies are allowed to use their guns.
Yeah.
And the guns don't morph into a whole bunch of stupid shit and never do it again. Like it's an actual pistol. Like it has a battery pack and everything. It's like old school phasers. I was wondering
what the fuck was up with that. I was like,
it's purely an invention for the movie, and it sucks. But that happens, and she's ordered to fly and complete the ritual to recharge her magic. She shouldn't have gone up there. She lied about how much magical energy she had left in her. She hadn't performed the ritual in like a month and a half, and she was running low, and that's why she couldn't do a bunch of her stuff, and that's why they had to send in a team to get the troll, and they're like, all right, look, just go take care of this. Do not come back until you've completed the ritual. This was not Holly Short's first time above ground.
Okay.
She enjoyed going up there because she had a genuine love of just enjoying the upper area, the sky,
whole,
the air.
Jumping, using all her magic on a kid didn't happen in the book?
Not technically. We'll get there.
Okay.
We will get there. But as she goes to complete the ritual, she has to take a fresh acorn and plant it near like an old there are certain spots on Earth which have well springs of magical energy. I'm trying to remember this. I haven't read this book in like 15 years. Don't at me, okay? But she tries to complete the ritual, which is where Butler and Artemis are waiting.
Yeah.
That is when there's no knowledge of who she is. She doesn't know they're there. One trank dart in the neck from Butler because he is the fucking man.
I did gather that.
He is like, in the book, he is like The Rock and Agent 47 combined.
Okay.
He has the build of The Rock with the stealthiness of a literal ninja.
Okay.
Butler is so well written, and that is another thing that super pissed me off when we'll get to that. But he captures her. Like, he deliberately takes another living being hostage at the age of 12, and the book doesn't say shit about it. Like, you are not meant to sympathize with this man. You are meant to look at this guy. You're fucking evil! You're 12 years old and you're so evil, but I want to know what you do because this is very cleverly written.
So he'd be like, easiest way to describe him, like chaotic neutral?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Because he then holds her for ransom. He contacts the fairy police. Opal Cowboy, this is another thing that pissed me off, and we'll get to it. Opal Cowboy is nowhere near this book. Nowhere near this series yet. They did this whole thing dirty. But he contacts them and says, I want a metric ton of gold. Like an actual ton of gold.
Oh, shit.
You will deliver it to me. And that is his ransom for giving Holly Short back to them. And he knows they have to pay that because he has captured one of them. It's in their rule books. It's their guidelines.
Okay.
And so that is the story, is them negotiating and trying to get Holly Short back.
So this whole magical battle thing with the time warp shield never happened?
Technically, yes. But it's way more interesting, and we'll get to that. But first we have to discuss 45 fucking minutes of this stupid movie! Allow me to pull up my notes.
Okay.
Let's see. I need to humanize Artemis, despite being one of the biggest themes in the book, was seeing him evolve. That is my second note. And it's because it's Josh Gad doing, and then Artemis went out, and he surfed along the beach, and that's what he did. And it's like, no. The guy's paler than paper whiteout. It's very much established he is not an outdoorsy kid.
Okay.
Like, he lives in Ireland, and you don't surf in Ireland, as far as I know.
And what was the need
note
to
number
make
6,
him,
Guinness is less Irish than this fucking movie.
What was the need to, like, make him, like, super... They seem to, like, try to be like, oh, he's so much smarter than everybody else, that's why he doesn't get along with anybody else.
Well, he is in the books, and that's part of his character, seeing him evolve, is because he is smarter than everybody else that he comes into contact with, especially people his own age.
Okay.
He has developed a superiority complex. I mean, he is, in the books, he is not without fault, though, but he is absurdly intelligent. Like, to the point where, as you're reading this, you don't think he's a Gary Stu, but he very much could be this brilliant, genius prodigy.
Okay.
And so, again, it's set up better in the book. Most things are. Let's see. Note number 4, Artemis Fowl Sr. was the head of a criminal family. Like, and this was not a secret to him. Like, okay. Artemis Fowl Jr. knew what his father did.
Okay.
Like, he was full-on crime leader, extortions, the whole 9 yards. He was a bad man.
Okay, so
Artemis Fowl Jr. knew what his father did and was fully prepared to take over the criminal empire, and did so for 2 years.
Okay, so that we're talking like he was closer to Godfather than Sweet Loving Dad.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, his parents were there, but his father was noticeably detached in the books. Like, that's even how they describe him. He understood what his father did and wished he could be there more. But he understands
so he wasn't
why.
this lovey-dovey dad when he was there. Okay. That's poor Colin Farrell. You can't get a fucking break with a good character. The last good character he got a break with, they secretly turned him into Johnny Depp in the end.
Oh, yeah, that was Fantastic Beasts.
Yep. I would much rather see Colin Farrell in that role. No offense to Johnny Depp, but Colin Farrell just played it better.
No, I'll take offense to Johnny Depp. That man's kind of a scumbag.
I just think Colin Farrell played the role better, too.
Oh, no, he did. Yeah. I just wanted to say Johnny Depp was a scumbag.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes. The all I want to believe in is you line. At 11 minutes, I hate this movie. It's the quickest I've ever hated a children's movie. Which brings me to point number 7.
This thing should have probably been like PG-13.
With Butler.
Okay.
Butler kicks ass in the books.
Okay.
There is a reason you know him only as Butler. It is his name. In the books, it's theorized that their lineage goes far back, that it may very well be where the title Butler comes from, is from this group of people.
Okay.
You do not know Butler's first name until book 4.
Jesus.
Yes. And upon learning his first name is when you understand where he and Artemis have come to in relationship to one another. In the first book, it's very cordial. It's master-servant relationships. Like, Butler very much tolerates this child.
So, Butler is kind of like an Alfred Pennyworth in the first couple of books.
Yeah, if Alfred Pennyworth could bend you into a pretzel, eat you, crap you out, and still have enough energy to take down 3 SWAT teams.
He can in Gotham, but that's a different story.
Well, picture normal Alfred Pennyworth with Gotham Pennyworth, mesh them into one person, and you basically have Butler then.
Okay, yeah.
This made me so mad, because you find out his name is Domovoy. When you find this out in the books, Butler is dying.
Oh, shit.
Like, he and Artemis have known each other basically the entirety of Artemis's life. Butler just takes a bullet for Artemis, like in the chest, is dying, and they use pseudoscience and magic to bring him back. But that's not the point. The point is, this is the only time when Butler would have been free to divulge his identity to anyone outside of his direct family.
And they just immediately
cut that knife. It's just like, wow, no, fuck you, movie.
Did and I know it's not to call him something too.
Don't call him the Butler. You get it? And it's like, no, go fuck you. OG Butler would have killed you in a million ways before you even got to this point. So anyway, the movie proceeds similarly. In all actuality, in the book, they've established a cell in the lower parts of the house of the Fowl Manor where they keep Holly in a concrete area so that she cannot get to soil to try and do the ritual. She is kept drained of her magic.
Okay.
And so they proceed in similar fashions. They establish the time sphere, which pauses time around the Fowl Manor. Like, everything else is moving at real time. Everything inside the bubble is moving at, like, 1/8 time.
Okay.
And they try to send in a team of infantry units on the ground. Except, by this point, Artemis and Butler have been experimenting with fairy technology for the better part of a week. And so Artemis has refitted Holly's helmet and gun to work in Butler's massive hands and head. He lays in wait and destroys a SWAT team. And there's not a lot said to it until you hear what happens in the aftermath report. And it's just how they were taken out. And they were terrified of this huge hulking mass of movement that just did away with all of them, got their gear, and threw them off the grounds. So that gave them more things to work with, which is where they bring in the troll idea.
Okay.
The character Brian Cudgeon says, all right, enough is enough. It's time to send in this troll. It's going to wreck everything. He very much said, while I am alive, you will never set foot in this house. That means they have to be dead. And so they get a superior override, and they say, yep, do it. Get our person out of there. And do whatever it takes to get our people out of there. And so he brings in a troll.
Okay.
And the troll goes through and starts ransacking the house. Butler goes up against the troll and dies. Trolls in this universe have poisonous tusks and claws. And it gets very graphic in how the troll kills Butler.
Okay.
Like, it gores him, and he's bleeding out, and it rips around him, and it's just, you're reading this as a kid, it's like, fucking hell, where did this come from? This is awesome. But during this rampaging, part of the concrete floor gets broken up, and Holly's able to get a little bit of magic going. Recognizing that the troll is ransacking the house, she revives Butler, just before he dies, who then, learning from everything in his mistakes as to how he approached the troll, went and got an old suit of armor and a mace. Flail? Mace. I forget. And proceeds to beat the shit out of the troll and throw it out the front door.
Okay, hey, that's definitely more badass than the movie did it.
Super more badass. And instead we get this elongated chase scene around the house where I don't feel anybody's at any kind of risk.
So, like, Holly and Artemis have not made friends at this point.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, they hate each other. Like, until book 2, where she is forced to get involved with him because she's the only person who's had direct contact with them. Like, she has the most knowledge of them, and that's why she's put on the case. Because I forget what happens in book 2. It's not... Book 2 is decent. It's not quite as good.
Okay.
But it's still worth a read, and I strongly recommend it. Like, I strongly recommend you read all of books 1 through 4.
Okay.
The others are... they really should have stopped on their head, but I think there was a publishing deal where it said he had to produce so many books.
How many are there total?
I want to say there's 6... But it's very much like the 4th book is where everything's wrapped up. Your bad guy, we'll get to the bad guy in that. But long story short, they deliver the gold. They just say, all right, fuck it, you've won. Here's the gold. What they don't tell him is that when the time bomb collapses, any organic beings in any organic people or beings within the house, within the area, will be dead. That's why they have to evacuate before the times, or they have to manually collapse the time sphere, or they have to evacuate before it happens.
So they give him this money and just are like, fuck it, we're going to kill a kid.
Yeah. Everybody in the house is going to die and we will take back the money.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, they were super pissed off with this kid. And they're like, you know what? There you go. There's your money. Fuck off. And he's like, all right, goodbye, Officer Short. Have fun. Now, what he doesn't tell anybody else through all this, and we'll get to Mulch. Don't you worry, Mulch fans. We'll get to Mulch, because Mulch Diggums is actually kind of a fun character in the book.
Okay.
Mulch Diggums is the first... You know what? We'll talk about Mulch now.
Okay.
Mulch Diggums in the book is the first plan they try. They send him in and they try to get Holly out. Mulch and Holly have no meeting before this. She knows of him because he's a criminal, and like he's in processing. He was processed by her or something. I don't remember. But they were not well acquainted.
Yeah, so they're not fucking friends like the movie makes you think.
No, not at all.
Like, they're like, oh, yeah, we know each other, and da-da-da-da-da.
No.
Okay.
None of that. None of that.
Noted.
So, Mulch goes in, and he's ordered to find and get her out. And they'll knock time off a sentence.
Okay.
So, he goes in, and here's the thing with dwarves. Dwarves are really cool in the book series, because they do, like, unhinge their jaw and start shoveling in dirt and tunneling through the ground.
That was a very unique take on a dwarf.
It is. They describe them much differently. They describe them with large tombstone-like teeth. But they do not look human when you look at them. There's distinctly something wrong with them.
Okay.
Proportionate-wise.
I can dig that.
Yeah. And I think what happened was Josh Gad was like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that Hobbit shit. So they were like, all right, fine, then you're a gigantic dwarf, whatever. And so that's how that happened for Josh Gad.
I was about to say, he's like not, he's an actual dwarf, not a giant dwarf.
He's a regular ass dwarf. Okay. There's the thing. If you enter into a human's home, without their express permission, you lose your magic in the fairy world. Okay. That's why Artemis, when she wakes up, he says, I invite you into my home. That way she still keeps her magic. Everything's fine. Mulch had been a burglar and broken into people's home, and by that exchange had lost his magic. Okay. So he could not cast spells like they normally would. Okay, so dwarves can use magic. Dwarves can use magic, and it's what got him kicked out of dwarvish society. Okay. He's a kleptomaniac.
Definitely more relatable.
Yes. What's even more interesting is that dwarves have a natural ability with their hair, which is why they have the long beards, is they can pick out a hair and it instantly hardens to near unbreakable properties. And they can use them as lockpicks. Because what he can do is he can insert the hair, wait for it to harden, and then maneuver it like a key.
Nice.
And that's why he is called upon, because he is really, really good at this. One thing I will give the movie, goblins look pretty darn good in this. Like, they look about how I approximated from the books.
Okay.
The breathing fire and everything, how they're immune to it, that's all in there. And I actually had to give the movie, that's the one thing in the movie I'll give props to, is that was pretty darn good.
Okay.
So that was their first attempt, and in order to try and track them, they put the iris cam in so they can monitor him, heartbeat and everything. Well, what happens is that during the ensuing troll fight, Mulch is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. So what he does is he tunnels out of Fowl Manor, finds a rabbit, switches the iris cam real quick, and kills the rabbit, making them think, and he starts to saying, oh, there's a cave-in, oh, something happened, and they think he's dead.
Okay.
And that's how he gets away. Like, they pick up that his heartbeat's no longer there, that is,
so he was smart.
He was smart.
About this.
He tricks them into thinking he's dead. So that's how that happens. The other person who's smart is Artemis Fowl in the book, who, while all this is going on, his mother has been tucked away in her room, and you get portions where you understand that she is not all there. She is not cognitively aware of everything. There's one part where she calls for him, saying that your father's come home. And in the book, it's like he gets excited and he runs to his parents' bedroom. And it's just this pillow dummy that she's dressed up in one of his father's suits.
Oof.
Yeah. And in the book, you can understand he's just absolutely crestfallen when this happens, because one, it's the realization that he allowed himself to get his hopes up for something like this. And two, it's hitting him that his mother is really just starting to go off bad. And that's when everything starts to go off, and they deliver the money, and he asks Holly, is like, could you please try and do something? And it's the one bit of empathy that he shows, and she's like, oh God, like, you've been an absolute bastard, but nobody deserves this. I'll try. I can't guarantee anything. He's like, that's all I ask. And he even gives back a portion of the gold.
Okay.
And he's like, don't worry. She tries to warn him because she understands why he's doing this now. Like, she understands he's getting this gold to try and find his father. Like, he knows he is out there and he needs capital in order to leverage that against whoever's holding him. And so he knows that when he finds him, he's going to need this. And she's like, oh shit. Yeah, I don't agree with your methods at all. You're a terrible person. I understand why you've done this.
So that's the one point in the book where it kind of humanizes him?
Yes. And over the course of the books, you see them both grow and become better friends. They don't become forever friends by the end of the first book.
I figured that.
I hated that line. I have in my notes somewhere, so I want to punch this movie so bad. Anyway, they had set up cameras around the manor to make sure everything goes the way they thought. Things really go off the rails when, like, the troll comes in and Mulch was not planned. Like the Aculus or whatever it's called. That's where in the book they hide the Book of the People.
Yeah.
That was translated, and that's what Artemis has there. And they're like, all right, steal it back. And he's like, well, you can. I've already digitally backed it all up.
That's the only importance of that thing? They made it seem like the end all be all.
The Aculos, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. Does not exist in the books. That is a movie only thing.
Okay.
So I don't know what their grand plan was with that, but it sucks.
It made it seem like it was this super magical...
Well, in the movie it is, but that's okay because that's a movie invention, and it's not anywhere near the books. It's never mentioned. It's not there.
Okay.
So, the Aculos of the book is the Book of the People.
Okay.
And it's not anything major. It's not anything huge, but he makes sure that he doesn't have it. But he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, take it. I have digital backups of everything. Go fuck off. And
oh, wow. Okay.
So in the book, they beat the time bomb by you have to be conscious. While you're stuck in the time sphere, time moves at a decelerated rate, right. As does, and it keeps the people inside in the stasis they are when they went in. So people who are awake will stay awake, people who are asleep will stay asleep. So what he does is he sedates his mother to try this experiment, because it's the only way he can. And you don't know what happens at first, but he looks on the cameras and he nods. What happens is that because the loopholes say they have to be within the same stasis they are when they went in, if that stasis is changed, they're no longer within the boundaries of the time bomb. So he drugs everybody. Okay. At the end of the book, everybody's going to die, theoretically, supposedly, and they pop up in some champagne, and he's like, well, I'm a little young, but given the circumstances, I think my father would approve. I just did something no one has ever been able to do. Cheers, everyone. And as everybody goes down, like, Butler realizes he's been poisoned and reaches out to try and kill him. Like, he is fully on board to kill Artemis because he also drugs Juliet, his sister. Okay. It's not his cousin in the book. It's his sister. She's 16, and this plays a vital role in this because at 16, Juliet no longer believes in magic or fairies. Okay. Like, naturally does not. And so she is brought in as an impartial position in this so that when they have to interact, they don't have to explain to her, like, here, just wear these shades. Just wear these when you're around her. She does something weird. And so that becomes a turning focal point in the books later. Okay. And it introduces things and sets them up. Like, it doesn't have to pay off immediately. But it's what happens later that allows, she's on duty, and that's why Holly escapes. Okay. Partially is because she's able to use the voice and mesmer Juliet, and she goes off and does her own thing. Okay. But eventually, they all pass out and wake up. It's morning, and Artemis notices when he gets up, he's used to being steadied when he is not all there. And first thing he notices is Butler's hand is not there to help settle him. And Butler is super pissed.
Naturally.
Yeah. Like, he's got his gun out ready and everything. He's like, you'd really better start talking to me right now because you just poisoned my sister and me. He's like, no, I had to. If I told you about the drugs, your system would have tried to fight them. Like, even if you wanted it to happen, like, the human, this body will fight being drugged. And because everything had come down to such a specific time limit, I couldn't have that happen. I'm sorry, but it just kind of had to happen. And sure enough, he gives back half the gold, or a portion of the gold, I think he gives back. And that's how the first book ends, is them going over the digital files of the People's Book that they were able to secret away a copy of.
Wow, that's so much better than...
Oh, it's 1,000,000 times better than this movie. Now, let's go to the movie and see what happened. Let's see my notes.
Forever Friends and...
Leprechaun wasn't... what is this movie's deal with daddy issues?
Freeing his father.
That was my big thing with that. Juliet is 16. It's important in the series. I can explain. This is my notes that I have. Holly's father was never part of the book. The Lep had guns.
What's up with the Opal and...
Oh, God! I didn't talk about Opal Cowboy! Okay, so the person who makes most of the tech is a pixie named Opal Cowboy. Okay. And she is, like, light years ahead of most people in the city of Haven, or the entire underground fairy world. Fairy is the catch-all term for people within... It includes goblins, dwarves, pixies, sprites, you name it. Yeah. And she is just leagues ahead of everybody.
Is she the secret bad guy?
No.
Okay.
Not until book 3? I want to say 3 is the Opal Deception.
Okay, so was she always the bad guy, or she was just... That came later in
That
the
came later. Like, she was, like, evil Tony Stark at that point. She was a weapons manufacturer. Like, she developed all the gear that the Lep used, like the guns, the armor.
So she was a smart Justin Hammer?
Yes. Yes, she was. Very smart, which is why they had to go to Artemis Fowl to take her down.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
So she didn't secretly have Artemis's father the whole time?
No, it was actually Russians.
Sorry.
His ship crashed in the Baltic Sea, and
the fucking Russians had
the Russian mafia had Artemis Fowl Sr.
Wow, fuck you, Disney.
Right?
Fuck you. We will never get a Disney sponsorship ever.
No, we won't. Even if they did, I would reject it because that means a lot of different things. Dwarf hair doesn't work like that. That's a big one. The book fight with the troll / Butler's death and revival is way more graphic and awesome.
You already mentioned that.
Yeah, I want to punch this movie in the face. The forced sentimentality sucks in this movie, where like two people just need to come together because the movie says they do.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
So we'll never get a proper sequel is what you're saying.
I hope not.
Well, I mean, at this point, from what you've said, the movie has been bastardized so bad.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he has his father at the end of the movie. He breaks the dwarf out of a human prison.
Yeah, I don't...
So, basically, I think Disney knew this thing was going to bomb. And they just made a shitty movie to maybe keep rights.
That's the big thing, is I think this was done entirely to maintain the rights to the series.
Because, honestly, knowing Disney and their planning and stuff like this, this movie was planned for theatrical release.
Yes.
And because of COVID-19 and everything, this is the only movie Disney said, you know what? We'll release this on Disney Plus. They did not do that with Mulan, which is the fucking big one.
Yeah.
They just delayed Mulan until everything's over.
Next year, I think, is when they've got it delayed too.
But they said, you know what? We'll release this on Disney Plus. They also, Onward already have been released in theaters. Bad timing, though, because it was right when this started.
Yeah.
They released Onward to Disney Plus too, which is fucking fantastic.
That's what I've heard.
Onward is good.
That's what I've heard.
But yeah, I think they very much, I think Disney plans like failed movies like this.
Again, I hope they didn't plan for it to fail. I definitely don't see Disney as the ones to help make this movie be good.
Yeah, I think they just gave somebody a bunch of money and was like, yeah, we just need to keep the rights. They gave Kenneth
Branagh a bunch of money.
They're like, yeah, just make a movie.
I think that's exactly what happened, because I've heard the author talk about how initially this was supposed to be like the first 2 books condensed into one movie, and then they went back on that, and there's an interview with him where he answers like the final 2 questions. I'll see if I can't link to it in this video about how that played out, and you can kind of tell by his tone. He was on board. He was either not on board, but he can't just come out and say, yeah, this movie fucking sucks. Don't go watch it, because it's like, you can't do that. Like, the closest we have seen to that is Mark Hamill speaking out about The Last Jedi, and he immediately had to start walking back statements because Big Daddy Mickey was just like, look, fucker, you want to work in this town again?
I mean, Mark Hamill's Mark Hamill, though. He is. He's at that point.
God bless him.
I'm excited for him to play Skeletor.
I'm sorry?
He is voicing Skeletor in the He-Man remake that Kevin Smith is doing.
When did this happen?
Kevin Smith announced it a couple months ago.
I'm super not on board with Kevin Smith for a lot of things because he started making crap movies, but I'm on board for Mark Hamill being Skeletor.
Yeah.
Like, he will ham it the fuck up like Frank Langella never could.
Yep. I know who's playing He-Man and all that.
Is it going to be animated or live action?
It's animated.
Okay, cool.
Mark Hamill's Skeletor and Chris Wood is Prince Adam and He-Man.
Nice. Let's hope they do at least a good enough job to be comparable to how She-Ra worked out.
I haven't seen She-Ra yet.
Neither have I. I have heard nothing but good things, and it's been on my to-watch list for a long while now. And with it finally wrapping up and like what I've heard of the ending happening, I'm genuinely proud of how they did it. That takes a hell of a stance because a lot of companies will not let you go as far as they did.
Huh.
And
Netflix, baby.
Yeah, either Netflix said, yes, do this, or they fought hard enough to say, we're doing it, go fuck yourself. And either way, that deserves a lot of props.
Well, I will have to watch it.
Both of those are way better things than the movie we got today, and one of them isn't even out yet, so... So anyway, those are our thoughts on the movie. I know we talked about the book a lot, but that's because the book is, like, infinitely better.
I mean, honestly, if you wanted to do a whole series on bad movies made on books, like, I could come here every day, because I got Aragon.
I promise we could.
Aragon, fucking I Am Number 4, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's also one that was like a direct movie thing, like the Master Thief or the Something Thief. I don't remember.
I don't know. We would have to look that up.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are our thoughts on the Artemis Fowl book and how much we don't want to talk about the movie because it sucks.
I really want to read the book.
You should. I'll see if I can't dredge out a copy. I'm sure my brother has one, and I'll deliver it next time we play D&D.
Well, I've actually found websites where I can read free books online. So.
Oh, then do that. See if they have a copy.
Huh? They had all of the I Am Number 4, and that is like way less popular than Artemis Fowl was. So I'm sure I can find it.
I wish you luck. Until then, everybody, be sure and punch the like button and just absolutely slam the bell, because that's how you get notified when I make new videos. I know it kind of happens sporadically for now, but that's because things are happening sporadically for now. But as we all get used to this new train, that was a weak ass clap. I apologize. As we all get used to this new way of life, hopefully we can do more things and experience more joy in life, far more than Artemis Fowl was able to deliver as a movie. Until next time, everybody.
We can only hope.
Laters.
Later.